All right, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the Public Transportation Division's Coordinated Call for Projects webinar. My name is Linda Hernandez. I am the Program Manager Lead, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. Around the table is Kari Banta. She's the Program Manager for the RTAP program. Sarah Stroman, the Facilities Program Manager. Keisha Smith, the Program Manager for the Planning Program. And Gonzalo Ponce, who is the Program Manager for Intercity Bus and Rural Discretionary. All right. Difficulties. The agenda, what we'll be going over today, we'll be going over the webinar information and the webinar purpose, the programs in the call, important points, the schedule, what to submit, the budget and milestones form, the fleet replacement program, where to ask questions and find the Q&A, and the e-grant and e-grant assistance, where to find e-grant assistance. To ask questions during the webinar, please use the email address ptn_programmgmt@txdot.gov. As we're going through the webinar, I'll try to periodically review questions and questions submitted and provide answers. We'll also have time at the end of the webinar to review and answer questions submitted. You can also use the chat function as well as the mailbox. So questions submitted will be used to develop a frequently asked question and answer document, which will be posted to the PTN website. This call for projects was issued November 15th and requests applications for various public transportation projects relating to FTA programs. The purpose of the webinar is just to provide a general overview of the call for projects. PTN will be hosting webinars later this week, this Thursday and Friday, which will go over the specific programs. So the programs in this call for projects are Planning Assistance, Rural Transportation Assistance Program, RTAP, Rural Discretionary, Intercity Bus, and Fleet Replacement. If you'll see on the screen, there's descriptions for each program. You can also find the scope, this is a scope actually, on page 4 of the application instructions, and then also in section 5 for each specific program. A little note for fleet replacement. Currently, we are not sure if the Rural Fleet Replacement Program funds will be available. TxDOT-PTN submitted an application for FTA discretionary funds recently, and if we are successful in that application, the funds that would have been for rural fleet replacement will be going towards that project. So we're hoping to have an answer regarding the status of our application, but at the time right now, we're not sure if we have been successful or not, but we'll be sure to keep everyone updated on that project. So, important point, I encourage you to read the entire call for projects. This will help ensure that you are applying to the correct program. So regardless of what funding source you're applying for, please read the entire call for projects. Sections 1 through 4 apply to all applications. So section 1 is the overview. In section 1, you'll find the purpose, the funding, the grant types and eligibility, the scope, and a matrix on funding choices. You can use the matrix to look up the possible funding categories you may be eligible based on your organization type. Section 2, Terms and Conditions, goes over multiple items including selection of projects, negotiations, awards, and obligations. Section 3, Application Submission, goes over the schedule. Development goes over e-grants, training and guidance, and where to submit questions. And Getting Started outlines the steps and actions for getting started in the grant application. Section 4, Application Instructions, gives instructions regarding how to complete the applicant information form in eGrants and other relative information. Section 5 goes over each program. So for each of those programs mentioned before, they'll have a scope, objectives, the program requirements, and the evaluation criteria. Section 6 is the glossary, which outlines the common terms and definitions used in the document. And Section 7 has attachments. This is actually a new section. We provided a transit facility pipeline, which gives the different phases of a project from planning through scoping, planning and scoping through construction, and a vehicle life standards table. This call for projects is distributed biannually, I guess not biannually, right? The next call for projects will be published fall of 2021. Projects can be for a maximum of 2 years, starting in either 2021 or 2022. So when you're thinking about projects to submit, please keep this in mind and ensure you identify the projected project start date in your application. The Master Grant Agreement and current FTA TxDOT certification and assurances must be on file before a PGA is issued. You don't have to have the Master Grant Agreement and certification and assurances completed prior to submission, but they need to be on file before you receive a PGA. Applications must be submitted through eGrants. This is the second coordinated call where we're requiring applications to be submitted through eGrants. The status must be applications submitted for review by the deadline in order to be considered submitted on time. Applicants must answer the questions thoroughly. Guidance is given in the blue text in Section 5 of the application instructions, but may not cover all aspects of the question. So please read the question and ensure that you're answering the entire question and not just answering what the guidance in blue is giving you. For multi-phase projects, we're requesting detailed information regarding the past, current, and future phases of all funding sources So give the full picture of the project if you have a multi-phase project. For intercity bus operating projects, requests can only be for 2021 and 2022. Key dates and deadlines. So the opportunity was available starting November 15th, last Friday. The overview webinar is this webinar in process. The program-specific webinar for planning and RTAP will be Thursday at 10 a.m. This Thursday, the 21st at 10 a.m. The program-specific webinar for rural discretionary and intercity bus will be this Thursday at 2 p.m. The program-specific webinar for urban and rural fleet replacement will be this Friday, the 22nd at 9:30 a.m. And the deadline for submitting written questions will be January 3rd. Please plan on attending the program-specific webinars for any programs that you think you may apply for. The program-specific webinars, again, will go over information in Section 5 of the application instructions. The deadline for the application submission is February 14th, 2020. Applications will be scored, negotiations completed. We expect all of that to happen by April 15th. Funding decisions made by May 15th, and we expect to go to the Commission for approval in June. Project grant agreement should be distributed by August 1st, and we expect grants with active dates of September 1st of 2020, which would be fiscal year 21, to be effective September 1st. Again, the deadline for submission, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, February 14th, 2020. And they have to be in that application submitted for review status. So what to submit? All applications must meet the scope and objectives of the program that they're applying for. Again, look in Section 5, read the scope and objectives, and ensure that you're meeting the scope and objectives for that program. Applicants must answer all required questions. Please be specific and to the point. Just because you have 8,000 characters doesn't mean you need to use all 8,000 characters. You can if you need to, but you don't have to. Clearly label all attachments that include a description field. Some attachments may not have a description field, but for those that do, please clearly label them. We should be able to look at that description and know what is attached. TxDOT will not be responsible for locating or securing information not included in the eGrants application. So please ensure anything that you want us to review with your application is submitted with that eGrants application. Before you submit, review for completeness and clarity. Review the full eGrants application, look form by form to ensure everything is there, and look at all your uploaded documents. Make sure you uploaded the appropriate documents to that eGrants application. The budget and milestones form. Guidance is given for the budget and milestones page for each program in Section 5. Please pay careful attention to the guidance given. Some programs only allow specific ALIs, which are identified in the guidance. General points to note: the indirect costs will not be considered or allowed if not indicated at the time of application submission. In-kind match will be used. If in-kind match will be used, the project total should be inflated by the in-kind amount, and the federal column should be the amount requested. Supporting documentation must be included as an attachment for in-kind match. Applications requesting funding for more than 1 year, you should enter only the first year of funds requested in the budget and milestones form, and then you must attach the multi-year budget worksheet to the budget and milestones form. The multi-year budget worksheet can be found on the website with the instructions. Please leave that in Excel format. Please don't change it to a PDF or anything like that. We do need it in Excel. Milestones must be entered as appropriate for each line item. You must enter at least a completion, is that right, Kari? A completion for milestones, at least a completion date, but there is guidance. Again, in Section 5, the budget and milestones page, there is guidance for each milestone and what is expected. TDCs will be available. They must be requested by checking the box under TDC requested ? For the appropriate line item. So if you like TDCs, please be sure to check that box. So since the fleet replacement program is still a relatively new program, I wanted to spend just a little bit of time going over it. The scope is to assist rural and small urban transit districts with maintaining capital assets in a state of good repair. The eligible subrecipients are rural and small urban transit districts. So the small urban transit districts are those that receive the governor's apportionment. For eligible project types, they may include, but are not limited to, fleet replacement, fleet rehabilitation, minor fleet facility renovations and/or improvements, shop equipment and other miscellaneous equipment, and fleet maintenance, hardware and/or software. So TxDOT will provide funding for up to 50% of the total cost of the capital project, and TDCs can be requested as match for that. The other 50% of the capital project must be funded with other sources of funds, which can include 5307, 5311, 5339, state funds, and local funds. Federal funding sources must include match as appropriate, and if other federal funds have not been programmed with other sources of match, TDCs can be requested as match. So if you haven't already applied for the funds in TRAMS, you can request TDCs for those other sources of funds. So for instance, 5307, you could request TDCs to match 5307 as long as the funds have not been applied for already. So where to ask questions. For clarification of the specifications of the call for projects, you can send an email to the PTN_program MGMT at TxDOT.gov mailbox. The responses to written questions will be posted on our website. Please check the website periodically for updates. All questions are due, again, January 3rd, 2020. A final Q&A document will be posted to our website the following week. So for eGrants assistance, you can email PTN-eGrantsHelp@TxDOT.gov, or you can call them at 512-486-5957, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. But please do not call the eGrants Help Desk for assistance regarding content questions. Those should be submitted to PTN Program MGMT. So if you have questions regarding any of the content, please email that PTN_program MGMT at TxDOT.gov. And I believe you all probably know where to find all of the information on the coordinated call, but the webpage information is here. And this is where the Q&A will be posted and the recording of this webinar. Do I have any questions? So no questions right now. We're going to wait a few minutes to see if any questions come in. Like I said, on Thursday and Friday, the program-specific webinars will go into detail for each program, the planning, intercity bus, RTAP, rural discretionary, and fleet replacement. So just to make one thing clear, the urban fleet replacement will still be available regardless of our application being accepted or not. The urban funds will still be available, and we will accept proposals for the urban fleet replacement program. The rural fleet replacement is the one that is currently in question. So we're still waiting on any questions, so I'll give it a couple more minutes. So I have one question asking, will a copy of the webinar be posted? The recording will be posted to the website. A copy of the slides will not be. It'll just be the recording. So we just got another question asking, can you discuss the timing of the next 5339 cycle as it relates to the 50% required to match the rural fleet replacement? Will the timing work out to use both? The short answer is yes, it will work out. I believe the next 5339 PGAs will be available September 1st of 2020, and that'll be for 2021, and that'll be the 2 years worth of funds. And so it'll work out with the coordinated call, which starts September 1st also. So yes, the timing will work out, and we will send out estimated amounts for everyone. So you'll have an estimated amount of the second year, and we'll have actual amounts for first year. So we got another question asking if there's any information on total available funds for this call. At this time, we do not have total available funds. We don't have the amount for total available funds for each program. So another question, will there be any guidance on recommended project size with the program-specific webinars? There will not be guidance on on project size or recommended project size, but what we can say is just make sure that the project is scalable. So submit what your entire project is, but please ensure that it is scalable if you want to have a better chance of receiving funds. So we haven't received any additional questions, but we'll hang on another minute or two. But if you have any questions, please send them in. So we haven't received any additional questions, but one last thing to note, please do not contact your PTC to ask content-related questions for the coordinated call. All content-related questions should be sent to that PTN_program management at TxDOT.gov, or sorry, program MGMT at TxDOT.gov. So please do not contact your PTC or the program manager directly. We do need that email. So on that note, I guess there are no other questions. Thank you all for attending this webinar, and this, again, this webinar will be posted on our website. Have a good day.